Hello lovely crafty beaders! In this tutorial we go together through the how to make this gorgeous bracelet. Just drop everything else and watch this life-changing video. Nice, huh? For our lovely bracelet, we need today 11 O's, then 4mm bicones. We need 4 bigger seed beads, bigger than 11 O's, so maybe 8O, 9O. Then we need 2 needles, because this is obviously a 2 needle technique, and because we are using so many bicones, I would suggest we use Eslon Eslon 45 as our thread, because this will give more strength to the bracelet when worn later. As clasp, we have as option the 2 strands magnetic clasp. Here I have prepared my 2 needles using a length of the Eslon thread and threading 1 needle at each end. You can find more details on the right angle weave with 2 needles techniques in the description below, or maybe in the card above. And now let's start our first strip of right angle weave. Let's prepare our first unit. And here we have our first seed bead, would be the larger one, because the clasp will connect to this one and we need more space to go with the thread more than once. Then we have the right side and the left side, and on the right side for our needle we have bicone, seed bead, bicone. Then the same on the right side, and we have the seed bead where the threads cross. And now let's load our needles, and we pick up the first seed bead and drop it to the middle of the thread. Then we have the right needle and load with a sequence of beads on the right. We drop the beads, and then the left, and we pick up the sequence on the left, which is bicone, seed bead, bicone. We drop the thread, and now we pick up the seed bead where the threads cross, and we drop it to the unit. And here we have our first unit. Let's prepare another unit together. So we have the right sequence of seed beads, the left, and the crossing. So we pick up, we load the right needle bicone, seed bead, bicone, and we drop it. We load the left bicone, seed bead, bicone, we drop it. Now we pick up the seed bead where the threads cross, and we cross them. Here we have the second unit. As we already know, the length that you need to bead is the measurement around your wrist minus 1 inch that will be covered by the clasp. So for a 6.5 inches wrist, you need to bead 5.5. Here I've made the length of my bracelet of the camera, and I still need to make 1 unit, and for the final unit we are going to work it together. So here we have the right, the left, the connector beads between the bicones, and because this is the last unit, the last crossing thread bead has to be the large seed bead, because here again we will have the connection with the clasp. So we load the right needle, drop the beads, load the left needle, drop the beads, and now we cross the threads in the bigger seed bead. And with this we have finished our first strip, but because it is very fiddly, we must reinforce the last units at least, and this means that we have to go back through the beads down the work. And this way we pull the threads, and we make sure that this way the shape and the length of the bracelet is stable. For the second beaded strip, the one that will connect to the first one, we start a new thread and we prepare our unit. And here the difference is that we have the connector bead from the left will be actually the one that we already have in this unit, in the first strip. So we pick up the first bigger seed bead and we drop it to the middle of the thread, and now we load the beads on the right needle and we drop them. And when we load the ones on the left, we have the first bicone, the bead from the previous strip, bicone, we drop the beads, and now we connect through the last seed bead. And here is our first connected unit. And we continue this way. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. The connector seed bead on the right, the one where the threads will cross, and the connector seed bead we pick up from the left strip. So now we load our right needle and drop the beads, and here for the left we pick up the first bicone, the seed bead that is in the strip, the bicone, and here is where everything gets a little mad with the tension in the threads. And now we cross the threads. When I'm working this type of right angle weave with 2 needles and using a connector strip as well, I usually leave the work on the surface so I can see and control it better. And we continue like this until we get to the end of our beaded strip. And here I have worked the second strip for the length of the bracelet, and now we are at the last unit, and we prepare the last unit, and we make sure that the crossing thread bead is going to be the large one, because we are at the last unit where the clasp will connect. So we load the right needle, bicone, and now we are working on the left bicone, the common seed bead, bicone, and we cross the threads through the bigger one. And here we have added the last unit, and now we have to go around and reinforce and in the same time stabilize the shape. So we do this with each thread, and here we have to be very careful with the tension of the thread so the units stay as close as possible together. Take your time, don't rush, it's an important phase of our technique. And you can actually use all the thread that's left and go around the bracelet through the thread path that is already there, and just reinforce it all. Now let's attach the 2-strand magnetic clasp that is working like this, and we are going to use the large seed beads as anchoring or connection site. So let's prepare our thread, and I'm using a new thread. And I just connect it around the thread from the now I just move the thread up towards one of the seed beads. Now I'm here. And we pick up the clasp and we go under the circle on the clasp, and this would be the motion: under, coming up, under, coming up. And gently pull the thread, and we continue with going under, coming up, over. And this is how we go 3 or 4 times around. And now we move the thread to the next seed bead, going through the work. We are out at the big seed bead, and now we position our clasp and again go under, come up, over. Under, come up, over, under, come up, over. And now you gently pull the thread. Okay, and we continue this move a few more times. So under, come up, over, and when you are happy, we just weave in the thread in the body of the work. And here we have again another opportunity to reinforce a little more our work. So just use this thread length. You can go this way to the other side of the bracelet for the other clasp if you have enough length of thread. And here I am at the other end of the bracelet, I have moved the thread through the work, reinforcing in the same time. And now we prepare the position, making sure that the bracelet is not twisted. And now we proceed with the same technique. Go under the circle, go over, under, over, under, over a few times, and then gently pull the thread, and then you continue reinforcing 3 or more times. When you are happy, you just move the thread again through the work to the other bead. And then the same procedure. Go under, over, and through the bead. Under, over, through the bead. Under, over, through the bead. Pull the thread and then continue reinforcing a few more times. When you finished, you just go around the last unit. Just be careful with the threads. Okay, good. And now you can bring this thread towards the middle of the bracelet. Make a few knots. And now we can cut the thread. We open the clasp and just tell me in the comments how pretty this bracelet is. From 1 to 10, I know, 11. Absolutely lovely.
Here I've made specially for you a playlist with more easy bracelet tutorials, and you can subscribe as well so you can get more of it. Ciao ciao!